is facing a loved member who's been kidnapped, but at the same time, putting in place legal regimes that encourage the payment of ransom has the effect of putting a bounty on other Americans. There is a reason it has been longstanding U.S. policy that we don't negotiate with terrorists, we don't pay ransoms. If you look at what President Obama has done over and over again, whether it was the James Bergdahl deal, which was absolutely shameful, releasing 5 senior Taliban terrorists to bring Bergdahl back, or whether it was this recent deal with Iran, where, again, up to 21 terrorists or potential terrorists were released or not prosecuted in order to bring back 4 Americans. What that does is it effectively puts a bounty on American servicemen and women serving abroad, on American tourists traveling abroad. And the proper approach is a president and commander-in-chief that defends this country and that goes after the terrorists rather than showing them weakness and encouraging them to target more Americans.
Senator Cruz, thank you. Mr. Trump, what would you say to Diane Foley? Should families be allowed to raise money for ransom?
Well, I know Diane Foley very well. Her husband, and these are tremendous people. I spoke for them. I've raised a lot of money for the foundation. I fully understand James, that was really the first that we saw really visually so horrible. And I will tell you, though, with all of that being said,
how to separate those people who can afford it versus those people or the hardworking folks who put their money in those institutions. Let me say another thing.
Has ever won the presidency without winning the state of Ohio, which I don't have to tell you. But you do drive conservatives crazy because you have accepted the president's Medicaid money. They think that means you're for big government. Rand Paul said that those governors who accepted that money think that, quote, money grows on trees. What's your answer to Rand Paul?
Well, I'm going to answer Rand. He's a good man. He's running for president. God bless him. But I think I have a right to define conservatism. Is conservatism locking the mentally ill in a prison, then they get out and they're bipolar and they assault a police officer and they're back in prison? Is that conservative? By the way, it's $22,500 a year in Ohio if you're in prison. How about the drug addicted? What we do is we lock them in prison and then they come out and they meet the drug dealer on the corner. And they either overdose or they're back in prison. Or the working poor who don't get health care, they can't afford it, so they're in the emergency rooms. And we all pay for that. Now, is that conservative? If that's conservative, then I think it better change. So my goal is to take these folks and get our money back from Washington, $14 billion, to help our local communities to deal with these folks. So what's our record now? We're now putting people who are helping people to get off drugs in the prison. I mean experts. And we're handing them off into the community so that they don't get back on drugs again. We believe our recidivism rate will be as low as 10%. Our recidivism rate in our prisons is 27% as opposed to 50% national average. Why? Because we give people the incentive to work their way out of prison, to get a skill, to get a job, to get in the community, to be with their families. I mean, this is... You're a gangbanger? We're going to lock you up and throw away the key. Okay, so here's what I'm saying, Gloria. Giving people comprehensive health care and then holding them accountable, getting people off of welfare, training them for programs that get them independent, helping the mentally ill to get their lives back and keep on their medication, taking the drug addicted and giving them a chance to be able to live normal lives, that to me is conservatism. Because you know what? We're all created for a certain reason and a certain purpose, and helping people to find that purpose is conservative. And you know what? Probably Ronald Reagan would have agreed with me before we changed the caricature of who he is.
Well, last time you and I spoke, you said that someone extreme, that was your word, would not be able to win in Ohio.
Yeah.
Does that apply to candidates you see in this race?
I'm not going to criticize candidates in this race. And let me tell you why.
I'm going to campaign and Donald Trump. Your campaign has a new ad out that is stirring a lot of controversy. Let's listen.
he keeps going.
Referencing the famous anti-Nazi poem, First They Came For, the ad appears to compare Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. Is that the comparison you're trying to make?
No, Martha, this is Colonel Tom Moe. He was a POW for 5 years in North Vietnam, was beaten and tortured and came within an inch of losing his own life. And these are his words. He feels very strongly about a man who divides us. And as you know, Martha,
it's your ad.
Well, but it's his words, and look, it's about whether we want to have a leader who unifies the country. I mean, Trump has criticized and